What's going on, guys? This is Rico 1246. Today I want to make a video about something that's always been brought up to me since I've owned my Mustang, and it is why Mustangs and Mustang drivers get so much hate and such a bad reputation. One thing to think about is that Mustangs come at a really good price, at least in the United States, and so it's a really good option for the power that it gives, not just for people who get into cars, but even for people who want a fast car, but they don't really want to go crazy. Like, they don't want to go in and buy something very specific. They just want a fast car. So because of this, you'll see not only people who get into cars, you also see a lot of the average consumer owning a really powerful car. I mean, we're talking about over 400 horsepower for a GT, and like literally anybody who wanted to put the money in it could. For the power that it gives, it's honestly a really good price. I mean, they come around 30K or a little bit more than that. It's pretty decent at driving. It's not too uncomfortable considering it's a performance car, and it's just overall a good car. So I want to tell you a little story that I guess gives a good idea of what we're talking about. People who are really into a car, when they meet another car of the same kind, they wave at each other. That's pretty normal. The Mustang drivers do that as well sometimes. However, it's not that common actually, which is kind of surprising. But like, most of the time that I see somebody who's got even the GT, and I wave, they just look at me and they keep going. And no, that is not because they're rude. I mean, they may be rude, probably, but not always. Sometimes they just not really into the car. They just want a fast car, period. So when they see somebody's got a Mustang, they don't care. They don't care that it's a Mustang. They just cruising with their car. It doesn't matter if it's a Mustang, it could be anything else. You know, one time I revved at a guy and we talked about exhaust, we talked about mods for the car and all that good stuff. Another time I did the same thing, and a lady that was in that car, I think it was an EcoBoost, I don't know what it was, but I think it was an EcoBoost. She looked at me and like all weirded out because I revved and then said hi. She was a little bit confused. And you know, you don't see something like that if you own, for example, a Subaru BRZ. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but it's much less likely to happen. Therefore, you know, when people are not really into these cars and they don't really are not into cars in general, and they own one of these that has so much power, 430 horsepower, they don't know what to expect out of it. They don't know how to control it. They don't know anything about it, and that's what causes a lot of problems, because a lot of these people are not really into cars. They don't understand the mechanics of it. They don't know all these things. I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm not, but I respect the car. I don't go crazy on it. I know my limits. I know the car's limits. A person out there that doesn't get into cars, they don't care. The only one thing they want to do, they want to smash that pedal and go fast, and they think that's how it works and that's how it's gonna go. Well, a lot of times it doesn't go like that, especially if you're like making a turn like I was doing last time, and I started drifting a little bit. But I kind of expected a little bit of that. A person who doesn't expect it, they go off the road and get outside and maybe hit another car or something. And this is what happens, sadly. And you know, everybody gets a bad reputation because of this. It's kind of like insurance, you know. A performance car usually get into a lot of accidents because people go crazy on them and everybody's got to pay for it. So that kind of sucks. And you know, as a Mustang driver, that's kind of how I feel anyway. But to me, it's a little bit different because I actually lived most of my time in Europe. So for me, what most people call import cars, not all of them, of course, Japanese ones, you know, these ones, for me, they're still import. But all the European cars, German cars, Italian cars, all these, for me, they're not imports. For me, they're domestic. For me, when I look at Mustangs, I still see, quotes, an import. It's not really an import because I'm living in the United States now. But if I was in Italy and I saw a Mustang, it would be an import. That's one of the main reasons I own one. Another thing that I didn't notice is basically every single Mustang video where they go and crash into something or somebody, they're all trying to show off. I don't know if you've noticed, but every single one of them, somebody's trying to show off I'm not saying though that the vehicle is perfect. It does have its flaws, but they don't have the skill to control the vehicle. They don't know their limits. They don't know the car's limits. They push it above those when they're not supposed to, just because they wanted to show off to somebody else, and they get into an accident. So one thing that you gotta know, and honestly, this doesn't just apply to Mustangs. This applies to anything, not just even cars. It applies to motorcycles. It applies to anything. And it is, know your limits. Don't go crazy. Don't do something that you know that you cannot do. And if you don't know, you gotta learn your limits and not get into an accident just because you wanted to show off to your friends that you can do this. You're giving everybody a bad reputation. So moral of the story is, if Mustangs costed more, there'd be more people who are actually into the car or into cars in general. That said though, I kind of like the fact that it is a relatively good price. But you know, at the end of the day, the car's been around 50 years. It's not gonna go anywhere. It sells a lot. Honestly, new models, I believe it looks probably the best always. It looks really good. I'm not gonna compare it to the classics because the classics are the classics. But compared to the latest models, in my opinion, 15 to 17 has been amazing. I don't love too much the 18. And honestly, Mustangs have an insane aftermarket variety. There's so much aftermarket. I mean, there's companies that all they do is Mustang aftermarket. That being said, I'm gonna be making more vlogs soon. Things that might change a little bit. I was hoping to make this vlog while I was driving, but I do know that there's a lot of background noise when I drive, and that's terrible. That's really annoying. I don't like it. I did find a solution to that, but the part didn't arrive here yet. So hopefully soon I can start doing that without too much background noise, and hopefully that's gonna help a little bit. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. If you got any suggestions, questions about anything, if you want to see something specific, if you want me to talk about something specific, let me know, and I'll see you guys later.